So we are going to differentiate different types of diffusion. So when we talked about osmosis, that was the movement of water. That is a form of simple diffusion. But there are other forms of simple diffusion. So osmosis is water moving, but simple diffusion can be anything moving. So now I can have sodium ions or glucose molecules. And if I just put them in water, then they're gonna spread out. So imagine I just put a drop with sodium inside water, and it's gonna hit the water, and it's gonna slowly start spreading out and becoming equally distributed. That is simple diffusion. It does not require any energy. It's just the natural state of the world to go from a high concentration to a low concentration. It just flows down its concentration gradient. So this is a passive process. So it also can be called passive, with 2 S's, diffusion. Okay? So when we talk about not needing energy, we're gonna say no ATP, because we haven't really defined what ATP is, but you can just think of it as a giant energy molecule. So that's what we use to power our cells, and it doesn't require it for passive diffusion. So when we are inside of our cells, the only thing that could move when we're talking about osmosis is the water. So the water was moving inside and out of the cell. So that's our H2O there, moving inside and out. That was osmosis. Now if we do facilitated diffusion, this is different because all of a sudden there's a hole where sodium can now pass through. So I'm just gonna blow this up a little bit. Before, only water could go in and out, and that was called what? You guys know it, osmosis, right? This is osmosis right here. So now we're gonna blow this up, we're gonna put a protein channel in there, and what's gonna happen is it allows the channel to open up and transfer ions. So these could be sodium molecules that now can move out, or move in. So that changes it from being osmosis to being facilitated diffusion. We're gonna call this protein channel a facilitator. So it just makes it possible for the sodium now to move in and out. It's still diffusion, so it's still passive, okay? No ATP necessary. Sodium can go in and out at no cost to the cell. It's just gonna flow down its concentration gradient. So if you have 5% inside the cell and 3% outside, which way is the arrow gonna go? It's going that way, okay? It's gonna go from 5% to 3% because it's gonna try and equal it out so that this becomes 4% and that becomes 4%, okay? It's gonna try and equalize the different concentrations, and then it will become isotonic. And that's what everybody's happy place is to have equanimity inside and outside the cell. So it's Zen happy place. So that's where you want to get. So it's going to go from a high concentration to a low concentration. Again, that's the natural state of the universe. It doesn't cost any money in the form of ATP. So energy resource there, not necessary. There is one form of transport that requires energy. And you really want to keep this straight because it's super easy. It's active. So you know that going to the gym takes a lot of effort and energy. So that's really easy to remember that active transport is going to be pumping up from the normal way of things, so say there's 5% inside and there's 3% outside, you're gonna have to, lift some weights here. So I'm gonna draw a dumbbell. That doesn't quite look like a dumbbell, but that's okay. You're gonna have to lift weights, bulk up, and you're gonna actually pump the sodium ions inside up against this concentration gradient. So it's like paddling upriver. It's going to cost you energy. So active transport means that you had to pay in the form of ATP, energy. So you really want to know that it's not normal, but we do it all the time. We pay that price because we want to make sure that we can get work done later. So we're going to invest the price to pump a sodium ion inside and have lots and lots of sodium ions so that it's like lifting a boulder up off the ground and then you just let the boulder go. And that's how we do muscle contraction, nerve impulse, a lot of things that we do. We put in the work at first to just build up the concentration, and then we just open the channels and let it flow and do the work later. But the process of building up inside the cell to 5%, that is going to be costing you the whole time. That's active transport. Pumping each sodium ion there is going to cost you an ATP. So if you have any more questions on simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, or active transport, be sure to let me know, email me, and I will try and help. Thanks.